The last cry on a dead planet sky above planet Arian was dark and full of ash. Gray clouds covered the stars. The ground was cracked and dry. There were no trees, no rivers, no wind. Just silence. A human dropship hovered down, its engines humming. Softly, dust rose as it landed. 6 soldiers stepped out, dressed in black armor, their boots sinking into the dead soil. They scanned the area. No signs of life, said Lieutenant Carey. Nothing moves, added Sergeant Juno, checking her thermal scanner. Place is colder than a freezer. Raiden stayed quiet. He stood at the edge of the group, his helmet off, eyes scanning the ruins. He had seen death before, but this place felt different, like the planet itself was crying, but no one could hear it. All right, Carey said. Spread out. Check for survivors. We give it 10 minutes, then we leave. They split up. Raiden walked alone toward what looked like the remains of a temple. Tall broken walls, covered in black dust. Strange symbols carved into stone, everything silent. He stepped inside. His boots echoed. A few broken chairs. A large circle drawn in the middle of the floor. Something old, ancient, forgotten. He touched one of the walls. It was cold. Then, behind him, a sound, a soft whisper, a voice, weak, shaking, afraid. Please, don't go. Raiden turned quickly. No one there. He waited. Again. The voice came, louder now. Please, someone. He followed the sound, moving deeper into the shadows. His hand reached for his sidearm, just in case. Then he saw her, curled up in the corner of the temple, covered in dirt, her skin pale blue, glowing faintly, her arms wrapped around her chest, her breathing shallow. And alien. Female. Alive. Barely. Rayden took a step closer. She looked up. Her eyes were large, filled with pain and something else. Hope. Are you real? She asked in a soft voice. Raiden knelt beside her. Yes, he said. I'm here. You're not alone. A tear slid down her cheek. Her voice cracked. Please, breathe with me. Raiden froze. What? I have no one left, she said. My people are gone. I carry our seed. It needs a carrier. Someone kind. Someone true, or it will die with me. Raiden looked at her, confused. Heart pounding. This wasn't about mating. It wasn't about lust. She was asking to save her species. Not with force, but with trust. My name is Arasha, she said. I am the last of the chiral. Behind him, a voice shouted from outside. Raiden, let's move. Evac now. He looked back toward the doorway. The team was ready to leave. Arasha reached out, her hand trembling. Please, don't walk away. Everyone else did. Raiden looked into her eyes. They were filled with something ancient, something soft, and something broken. He made a choice. He took off his gloves, reached out, and held her hand. I'm not leaving you, he said. The ship engines roared outside. You don't understand. Arasha whispered. They'll come for me. I was made for something sacred, and others wanted for evil. Raiden nodded. Then we fight. Just you and me, she asked, smiling faintly. That's enough for now, he said. He wrapped his cloak around her, lifted her in his arms, and carried her away from the temple. Above them, clouds shifted. A single beam of sunlight touched the ground for the first time in years. What she carried inside. The wind was cold as Raiden moved through the ruins, carrying Arasha in his arms. Her body was light, but her breathing was slow. Her head rested against his chest. Every few minutes, she would whisper something in her language, soft words he couldn't understand. He didn't care. She was alive, and he had made a promise. He wouldn't leave her behind. They reached a broken structure that looked like an old shelter, walls still standing, a roof made of curved silver stones, half buried in the ground, but stable. Raiden kicked the door open gently and stepped inside. It was dark. Dust in the air. He laid her down on a pile of soft cloth, broken fabric, maybe once used as bedding. He took off his helmet. Sat beside her. Watched her breathe. Then finally, her eyes opened. Thank you, she whispered. Rayden nodded. Rest now. Arasha looked at him carefully. Do you know what I carry? You said something about a seed. He replied. Yes, she said, but not like yours, not like humans. Our seed holds more than life. It holds memory, history, all our people's pain and joy. We pass it down through bonding. Raiden listened. Our bond was never about flesh, she said softly. It was about spirit, heart, Soul, we don't create life just to survive. We create it to remember. Raiden leaned back, watching the ceiling. He had never heard anything like this before. Not in training. Not in books. And now, he asked, now, I am the last. The memory is inside me, but it's heavy, too heavy. If I die, it ends. Raiden looked at her. How does the bond work? Rasha smiled, weakly, not with touch, with trust. Outside, the sky turned darker. Far in the distance, a shape moved across the horizon. A drone. Human. Searching. Maybe it was friendly. Maybe not. Raiden stepped outside the shelter, pulled out his flare gun, aimed, and then stopped. His hand shook. What if they tried to take her? What if they didn't believe him? What if they killed her? He lowered the gun. Not yet, he whispered. Back inside, Rasha sat up slowly. She placed her fingers over her chest. Do you want to see? She asked. See what? Our past? Raiden nodded. Rasha touched his forehead. A soft glow passed between them. And suddenly, visions. Thousands. Flashes of stars, planets, people. The Cairo homeworld. Beautiful cities. Laughter. Then, fire. Ships. Falling from the sky. War. Hunters. One by one. Her people were taken, sold, broken. They screamed. They begged. And no one came. Until now. The visions ended. Raiden fell back, gasping. What was that? What I carry, she said softly. What I must pass on. He sat up slowly, his chest tight. I saw your mother, he said. Yes, she was the last queen. I saw her die. Yes, she gave me everything. Now I give it to you. Raiden looked at her, eyes wide. Me, if you choose, she said. If not, I understand. He was silent. Outside, thunder rumbled. Then, a sound. Metal. Voices. Soldiers. They were coming. Not friendly. Not human. Scavengers. Mercenaries. Searching for rare alien females. Raiden looked at Rasha. They're here, he said. I know, she whispered. We have to run. I can't. He stood, pulled her up gently. Then I'll carry you again. No, she said, placing her hand on his heart. You don't need to carry me. You need to carry us. Her fingers glowed. Warmth filled his chest. Her memories, her strength, her history, all passed into him, like life flowing through. His veins. Raiden gasped. He could hear her people. Feel their sorrow, their love, their faith. And now, it was his. He looked at her again. Not as an alien, but as the last voice of a forgotten world. And he made another promise. They won't take you, he said. They won't erase you. I'll protect what you carry. Outside, shadows moved closer. Guns loaded. Boots stepped into the dust. But inside, two hearts now beat with one purpose. To survive. To remember. To begin again. Hunted in the dark asterisk, the ground shook as the first mercenary ship landed. It wasn't loud, but it was heavy. The kind of sound that made the air feel dangerous. Raiden stood at the doorway of the old shelter, his gun ready. He watched as the dark ships hovered over the rocks, slowly opening their ramps. Inside the shelter, Rasha sat quietly. Her eyes were closed, but her body was tense. She could feel them coming. Her people used to call it the scent of violence. It was something passed in the blood. And now, it filled the air. Raiden turned to her. They're not human, he said. But they have human tech. They've been hunting my kind for years, she whispered. For our memory. They sell it. You're not going with them, Raiden said. Not now. Not ever. Rasha looked up. You don't have to fight for me. I'm not fighting for you, he said. I'm fighting for what you carry. He opened a metal hatch on the floor. It led to old tunnels below. The ruins. Rasha looked down into the darkness. You trust me? Raiden asked. With everything, she said. They went down, step by step, into the cold earth. Above them, the mercenaries entered the shelter. There were 3 of them, tall, armored, faces covered. One scanned the walls, another kicked over the broken furniture. The third held a tracker. It blinked with a soft red light. They were here. One said, the female's still close. The leader growled. Split up. Find them, alive. Below, the tunnels were quiet. Raiden led the way with a small light on his helmet. The walls were made of smooth black stone. Strange symbols glowed faintly. These tunnels, Rasha said, were made for memory storage, like data. No, she said, like dreams. They hold parts of the past. Raiden nodded. Let's hope they hold a way out too. As they walked, the walls began to hum softly. Arasha reached out and touched one. The wall responded. It opened slowly, revealing the chamber inside Rayde, and stepped in first. What he saw stopped him cold. The room was filled with floating crystals, glowing, pulsing with blue light. Images moved inside them, faces, planets, ships, wars, entire lives. What is this place? He asked. My people's library, she said. Every soul we bonded with is here. She stepped forward and placed her hand on the largest crystal. It began to glow brighter. I can give you more, she said, but it will hurt. Raiden looked at her. Do it. Up above. The marks found the open hatch. There in the tunnels. One said, lock down the surface. The leader ordered, send drones into the holes. In the chamber, Rasha placed both hands on Raiden's chest. Life flowed between them. His eyes shut tight. His heart raced. He saw visions again, but this time, deeper. He saw a temple burning. He saw children running from machines. He saw a mother give her daughter a crystal and whisper, you must carry us. He saw Rasha as a child alone, crying in the dust. He opened his eyes, gasping. You've been alone your whole life, he whispered. Until you, she said. Just then, a blast shook the ground. Dirt fell from the ceiling. They've found us, Raiden said. Asha turned. This way. They ran through a side tunnel, deeper underground. The lights in the walls began to dim. Why are they fading? He asked. Because the power is tied to my blood, she said. I'm growing weaker. No, he said. You can't give up now. Behind them, male footsteps echoed. The marks were close. Raiden grabbed a stone from the wall and threw it back. The sound bounced, confusing the hunters. They reached another chamber. This one was filled with strange weapons, old, dusty, but still glowing faintly. Rayde picked up a blade. It felt alive in his hands. These are made from memory metal, Rasha said. They obey the one who carries the seed. Raiden nodded. Then let's give them a fight they won't forget. As the mercenaries entered the chamber, they saw something they didn't expect. A human soldier, standing tall, a glowing blade in his hand. An alien woman behind him, shining like starlight. Hand over the female, the lead merc said. Raiden didn't move. Last chance. Raiden smiled. I already made my choice. The fight was fast. Raiden moved like he had lived 100 lives. The blade sliced through the air. Singing with power, memories guided him. Souls inside him whispered, where to strike. He wasn't fighting alone. Rasha closed her eyes and sent light through the blade, strengthening him. When it was over, the marks were down. The chamber was silent. Raiden fell to his knees. Breathing hard, Asha rushed to him. You're hurt. Just tired, he said. You fought like one of us, she said. Maybe I am, he whispered. She smiled. Tears in her eyes. No, she said. You're something new. Asterisk, key traitor among humans. Asterisk, the sun was rising again over the broken hills of planet Aryan. It was quiet, but deep below the surface, in a hidden room, Raiden sat against the wall, eyes half closed, his hand wrapped in cloth. His arm was still bleeding from the fight with the mercenary's daughter. Asha knelt beside him, her glowing fingers gently touching his skin. This will sting, she said softly. I felt worse. He replied, not like this, she whispered. As she touched his wound, light flowed into it, not just healing, but changing something deep in his body. He felt warmer, clearer, like his blood now carried something more. You're not just human anymore, she said. Good, he replied. Maybe now I can keep you safe. Above them, the second human rescue team had landed, led by Captain Rourke. They moved through the ruins with scanners and weapons. They had been sent after Raiden failed to return from the first mission. This place is off the charts, one soldier said. Power levels are unstable. Stay sharp. Rourke ordered. We're not alone. Raiden helped Rasha walk through the lower tunnel. The door had grown closer, not just in words, but in understanding. Rasha no longer needed to speak everything aloud. Raiden could feel what she meant, sense her fear, her strength. Suddenly, a voice echoed ahead. Freeze. Raiden stepped in front of Rasha quickly, his hand on the hilt of his memory blade, but the light revealed a group of human soldiers. Real ones, not marks. Raiden, a woman stepped forward. Is that you? It was Lieutenant Voss, someone Raiden knew from his last base. Stand down, Raiden said. She's with me. The soldiers looked at each other. That's the alien female the scans detected, one whispered. She's not a threat, Raiden said. Rourke stepped forward now, older, strong voice, cold eyes. Orders say we extract all survivors, he said. Human or not. Raiden narrowed his eyes. What does that mean? We're taking her back. Rourke said, she'll be studied, tested. Rasha took a step back. Rayde and stood firm. No. Rourke looked at him long and hard. You've bonded with her, yes. Then you're compromised. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out. But it didn't come from Rourke. A bullet hit the ground near Raiden's foot. He turned fast. It came from someone behind them, a soldier with a different badge, not part of Rourke's team. A man Raiden didn't know, but Arash's eyes widened with fear. He's one of them, she whispered. He works with the hunters. Raiden grabbed Arasha and ducked behind a wall just as more shots fired. Chaos exploded. Some human soldiers yelled. Others pointed weapons at each other. Stand down. Voss shouted. Who fired? The rogue soldier ran, but not before hitting a small beacon on his belt. A red light blinked. A signal sent. Deep in space, another mercenary ship received the signal. They turned toward Arian. More were coming. Back on the ground, Raiden pulled the wounded rogue soldier into the light. Who sent you? He shouted. The man laughed. Blood on his teeth. You don't get it. She's worth more than your whole fleet. Memory seed tech. Clean genetic core. You're wasting her on bonding. Raiden punched him. Hard. You're done. He growled. Later, Rourke and Raiden stood face to face. You were right, Rourke said. We had a traitor among us. How many more are there? Raiden asked. I don't know. Then keep your team small. No one goes near her unless I say so. You're not in charge, Rourke warned. Raiden stepped closer. I'm the only one who kept her alive this long. If you want her safe, you listen to me now. Rourke didn't reply, but he didn't argue either. That night, inside the ruins, Raiden and Arasha sat beside a fire. She was silent. Thinking. You're scared, he said. Not of death, she replied. I've lived with that. I'm scared of hope. Why? Because when you hope, you open your heart. And when it breaks, it hurts more. Raiden nodded slowly, then took her hand. Then we'll hold that hope together, he said, and protect it. Far above, the new enemy ship entered orbit. Inside, scanners lit up. And on the bridge, a voice said coldly, prepare to descend. The seed must not escape again. The bonding ceremony asterisk. The sky above Arian was no longer quiet. A new ship moved through the clouds, black and sharp like a blade. It didn't land with noise. It landed with purpose. Inside, mercenaries prepared. They had one mission: take the female, take the memory seed, destroy anyone in the way. Underground, in the ruins, Raiden sat beside Arasha in a quiet chamber filled with glowing stones. They had moved deeper into the ancient tunnels, deeper than anyone had gone before. The walls were warm, the air thick, with light. Symbols on the ground pulsed under their feet, reacting to Arasha's presence. This is the place, she said softly. This is where the bonding must happen. Raiden looked at her. She looked tired. Not weak, but full, like her body could no longer carry what was inside her. What do I have to do? He asked. Nothing physical, she replied. Just be open, fully open, heart, mind, soul. He nodded. But she wasn't done. It will hurt, she said. You will see things no human should see. Feel pain that isn't yours. Carry sorrow that never touched you. I can take it, he said. She stepped closer. Touched his chest. Double quotes. No, Raiden, you must take all of it. Above, the mercenaries moved quickly. They had found the old surface base. They found the burned bodies of their last team, and they were angry. They sent drones into the tunnels, set explosives along the stone walls. The clock had started. Back underground, Rasha stood inside a circle carved into the floor. She motioned for Raiden to enter. He stepped in. The symbols lit up. A soft hum filled the air. Close your eyes, she whispered. He did. Then she placed her hands on his shoulders, and everything changed. Raiden's mind filled with images. Not like before. This was deeper. Clearer. He saw Rasha as a baby, floating inside a crystal womb. He saw her parents, strong and gentle, passing their memories into her. He saw war. Flames. Machines dragging her people into cages. He felt her fear. Her helplessness. He watched her scream in silence as her world burned. His chest ached. He gasped for air. But he didn't stop. More visions came. The loneliness. The hiding. The years she spent under rocks, in shadows, hoping someone would hear her cry. And finally, his face. The moment he found her. Her last hope. Her last chance. Raiden's knees hit the ground. He trembled. Sweat poured down his face. His eyes opened, glowing faintly now, touched by her light. He looked up at her. I saw everything. He whispered. Double quotes. Yes, she said. It was too much, and yet you stayed. He nodded. Then reached for her hands. They glowed together. The light spread between them. Into the walls. Into the stones. Into the ground. Something old awakened. Not just memory. But new life. A soft pulse of energy formed in the center of the circle. A sphere. Gold and blue. Small, but full of power. Asha gasped. The seed, she whispered. It has formed. Because of us, Raiden said. They held each other tightly. For a moment, the galaxy felt quiet again. But peace didn't last. A loud boom echoed above. Then another. Dust fell from the ceiling. The chamber shook. Rayden and stood fast. They've found us. Rasha clutched the glowing seed in her hands. We must protect it. We will, he said. Voss, the human officer, ran into the tunnel entrance, breathless. They're blowing the upper levels. She shouted. We need to move now. Can't, Raiden said. The Bonnie just finished. We have the seed. Voss looked at the sphere in Rash's hands. Then protect it like it's your own child. Raiden nodded. Because it is. Drones entered the tunnel. They fired. Rayden blocked the shots with his blade, slicing the machines midair. More came. Too many. Voss and her squad held the line, but they were losing ground. Raiden grabbed Rash's hand. This way, he yelled. They ran down another path. They reached a narrow chamber. A chamber full of ancient machines. What is this? Voss asked. An escape pod, Rasha said. From the old world. Not made for war, but for rebirth. She stepped inside. Rayden and followed. Voss handed him a weapon. Go. We'll cover you. Thank you, he said. Take care of her. The door closed. Light filled the pod. The walls hummed with energy. And then it launched. Straight through the rocks. Up. Toward the surface. Up into the sky. The mercenaries screamed in anger as they watched the pod rise. They fired. But it was too fast. Too strong. Too late. Rayden and Arasha were gone. Carrying the future. Asterisk born of human courage. Asterisk the escape pod broke through the clouds like a star rising from the ashes. Inside, Raiden held Rasha close. Her eyes were closed. Her arms wrapped around the glowing seed like a mother holding her child. The pod flew fast, guided by memory tech from the old world. It searched for a safe place. A place far from the hunters. Far from war. But the sky was not empty. A mercenary ship spotted them. They're not giving up, Raiden said. He looked at the small screen. 2 ships closing in. They were fast. Armed. Ready to kill. Rasha opened her eyes. We must land, she said, before they shoot us down. Raiden nodded. We need cover. Somewhere quiet. The pod turned sharply, heading toward a mountain range full of deep caves. The mercenaries chased. But the pod slipped into the rocks. Vanished from radar. They circled above, scanning. But the pod was gone. Hidden. Alive. Dash inside a cave. The pod landed roughly. The door opened with a hiss. Raiden stepped out, gun in hand. Rasha followed, holding the seed. They were safe for now. The cave was large and full of crystals. It glowed with soft light, peaceful, untouched. We'll stay here, Raiden said. Just for a while. Rasha nodded. She laid the seed gently on the ground. It floated. Spinning slowly, glowing brighter than before. Rayden sat beside her. He looked at her face. So tired, but still full of light. You gave me everything, he said, and I gave so little. You gave courage, she replied. Human courage. That was enough. He shook his head. I didn't know what I was doing. You followed your heart, she said. That's more than most. Outside the cave, mercenaries dropped to the ground. They searched the rocks. They followed heat signals. They were close. Inside, the seed pulsed. Asha touched it gently. A small spark shot into her fingers. She gasped. What is it? Raiden asked. It's growing, she said. It's starting. Starting what? Life, she said. Suddenly, her body weakened. She fell to her knees. Rayden caught her. What's wrong? The seed is taking energy from me, she said. I gave too much. I don't have much time. No, Raiden said, voice shaking. You can't go. Not now. Listen, she said. You must protect the seed, raise it, teach it kindness, teach it love. Rasha, you have my memories now, she whispered. You are not just human anymore. You are both. But I need you, he said, his hands trembling. You have me, she whispered, touching his chest. Here. Her glow faded. Her breath slowed. Her eyes stayed open, but silent. Still. Gone. Raiden held her tightly, his head against hers. No words. Just pain. Real pain. And love. Deep love. But there was no time to mourn. Outside footsteps. Raiden stood, eyes full of fire. He placed Rasha's body beside the seed. He picked up the blade, walked to the cave entrance, and waited. The first merc stepped in. Raiden moved fast, faster than before. The blade glowed. His strikes were perfect, each motion guided by 100 memories. He wasn't just Raiden now. He was history. He was KIRELL. He was something new. They kept coming, but he didn't fall. He couldn't. He WOULD in single quotes T. Not for her. Not for what she left behind. Finally, the last one dropped. The cave was quiet again. Raiden dropped to his knees, breathing hard. He turned. The seed was brighter. Floating higher. And then, a voice. Soft. Gentle. A new voice. From inside the seed. Raiden, it said. He looked up. His heart stopped. Rasha? No, the voice said. I am not her, but I remember her. I remember you. I am the child. A figure formed in the light. Small. Glowing. Not male, not female, not alien, not human. But both. Beautiful. Strong. New. I'm your son, the voice asked. RAYDE in single quotes. S eyes filled with tears. Yes, he said, and you are hope. A new species is born. The cave was quiet now. Soft light danced on the walls. The battle was over. The danger had passed. But something greater had begun. Raiden sat on the stone floor, his hands resting on his knees, his eyes locked on the floating figure in front of him. Not a child, not a warrior. Something new. The seed had become life, and life had become hope. Do you remember her? Raiden asked, his voice low. The glowing being nodded slowly. Yes, it said. She gave me her love, her memories, her strength. I remember her laughter, her fears, her final thoughts. And you, me? Raiden asked. You gave her peace, it said. She was no longer alone because of you. Raiden looked down, his chest tight. I miss her. I do too, the being replied. But I am not here to replace her. I am here to continue her. Outside the cave, the world began to change. The crystals that once lay hidden under ash and dust started to glow again. Old ruins shifted. Light passed through cracks in the mountains. The memory of Rasha and the energy of the seed was waking the land. The planet was not dead anymore. It was healing. Over the next few days, Raiden and the new being, who chose the name Kale, stayed in the cave. They talked for hours, not just about the past, but about the future. I am not human, Kale said, and not chiral. Raiden added, I am both, and something else. What will you do? Learn, grow, protect what matters. And if they come again? Raiden asked. Kale held up a hand. A small light formed in his palm. It was calm, focused. They won't win this time. One morning, a small human scout ship found their location. It was Voss. She stepped out, cautious, but when she saw Raiden, alive, and Kale floating behind him, her face changed. She dropped to her knees. What? Is he a miracle? Raiden said. Word spread. A mixed blood being born of pain and love. Half human, half KIRELL. Holding both history and future inside his body. Some feared him. Some wanted to use him. But most just watched in awe. Kale was taken to a new station built in orbit around AION.RAYDE and went with him. They studied, trained, taught others. Kale spoke softly, kindly, but his power was clear. He could light up machines with his voice. He could share memories with a touch. He could stop a fight with a single look. He was not a weapon. He was a lesson, and everywhere he went, people began to ask themselves, what if love between enemies is the key? What if pain can give birth to peace? What if something better is possible? Years passed. Raiden grew older. Kale grew wiser. And one day, Kale stood at a podium in front of humans and other alien races. His words were simple, but they echoed across worlds. I was born not from war, but from a moment of kindness. My mother was hunted. My father was human, but neither used force. They chose trust. And because of them, I exist. So ask yourself, what will you choose next? Fear or courage? The room was silent. Then applause. Tears. Change. Dash were Raiden passed on. Kale built a small stone in the hills of Arion. Not a grave. A circle with one word written on it in human and chiral script. Bonded, and every year, on that day, Kale returned to that place to remember the cry of a dying woman who asked not for power, but for someone to stay, and the man who did.